Well, the Warriors got their ass kicked. There's no way to sugarcoat that. It was a beatdown. But look, man, you're probably going to get a lot of doom and gloom out there after the Golden State Warriors, again, at home. They're playing a powerhouse Cleveland Cavaliers team. They lose this game 113-95. But again, I saw some silver linings in this. I don't think anyone realistically expected the Warriors to beat Cleveland. And I know an 18-point loss on a night where the Golden State Warriors offense shot 33.3% from the field. That's bad. They shot 23.7% from deep. That's very bad. But there are some positives here. And I know this isn't how you want to end 2024. I get it. But the worst might be over. There's hopefully another deal coming. Let's break it all down. Again, the Warriors got their butts kicked. You can't win them all. Found some positives. How do you like that? Some positivity from me of all people. Let's break it down next. Welcome to the program. This is the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Let's go!
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
the Hobbit ball. That's a problem. What are you gonna do? Welcome to the Golden Days. I am your host for the evening, Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild over on that cesspool of an excuse for a social media platform that they call Twitter or Y or Z or whatever letter is so they call that now. Anyways, I'm on that platform. You can follow me at Surf Journalist. The program's on most social media platforms at Golden Days Pod, with Blue Sky being the exception. If that thing still exists, we have an account there at just Golden Days. Before we get into what went wrong for the Golden State Warriors, resulting in, again, a 113-95 loss that had some silver linings in it, and I'll get into what I mean by that. Let's first give some love to the sponsors of this program. And there's quite a few of them. There's more coming. I'm elated about the fact that this thing is growing, folks. And again, the Warriors are going to come around. I'm feeling good right now, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But first and foremost, let's just give some love to our two sponsors for this evening. First and foremost, Vitamin Energy. Go to vitaminenergy.com. And if you use the promo code Golden Days, you'll get 20% off your order for an energy boost that's actually healthy for you. I've said this before and I'll say it again. My mom and my sister, two of the biggest health nuts on the planet, I use them as test subjects. If they were giving me a thumbs down on this, because they're not putting toxic crap in their body, they would not be a sponsor. All right? There is some integrity with this program. I promise you that. But they gave the 2 thumbs up, the sign of approval. It's a healthy drink. It gives you a boost that's comparable to Red Bull and 5 Hour. It supposedly tastes good. I think it does, but I mean, to each their own in terms of taste. Regardless, you can get a 20% discount. Just use the promo code Golden Days or go to vitaminenergy.com/Golden Days for a 20% off discount. Remember, dazed is spelled like dazed and confused. Today's episode is also brought to you by BetOnline, and I know there was a Niners game as well. I bring that up because you could have bet on that. And maybe you got your butt kicked. Maybe you want some money betting on Detroit. What? But regardless, BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. The Cavaliers came into this game tonight at Chase Center, I believe, 4.5-point favorites. So if you bet on them, congratulations, even if it came at the expense of the Golden State Warriors. Head to BetOnline today, and don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE. That's the name of our network. BLEAV is how you spend it for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. And again, the Golden State Warriors losing this one 113-95 in a game that had a lot of just cringe moments, a lot of head-scratching moments. The referees were, I mean, even they were at a whole new level of atrocious. Stephen Curry getting screwed over with non-calls. Jonathan Kuminga getting hacked by Evan Mobley, only to see it challenged and overturned, despite the fact that in no way, shape, or form was there conclusive evidence to overturn it. Thankfully, Bob Fitzgerald spoke out about that. I still see no video evidence out there to corroborate and confirm what happened, but if you saw it, you understand how egregious that was. It was a joke. And when we're talking about NBA ratings dipping, I know the refs aren't the only concern, but they're one of them. Stop involving yourself in the goddamn game. I know that would not have made a difference tonight. The Warriors lost by 18. But when that happened, the Warriors were still very much in this game. They only trailed by 8 at the end of the first half. The third quarter completely got away from them. We'll talk about that and so much more in just a moment. But these officials, my God, man, especially for a replay, to screw that up. Like, what is the level of incompetency in Sinakis? How do you pronounce Sinakis? I always butcher that. The name of the city that's in near New York City, that is the home of the NBA. It was just awful. I mean, I don't know how you overturn that. And even just a moment earlier, Kenny Atkinson called the timeout to challenge a play and then just changed his mind. And the refs were like, yeah, you sure, go ahead, change your mind, even though you're not supposed to be able to do that. This was embarrassing. Secaucus. Thank you, Touch of Madness. I don't know why. That's a crutch for me in terms of words. The name of that city, Secaucus, New York, where the replay center completely butchered that replay. And by the way, Secaucus, the same place where the leakage, if that's the right way to apply that word, of the Draymond Green punch on Jordan Poole, all the suspicion is around Chase Center, and and with the thinking that the leaker was someone in that building. Very little, if any, focus on Secaucus, New York, because all of those video feeds at practices and NBA gyms are being fed back to Secaucus. That could have been someone there who leaked it. We still don't know. Regardless, the point is, officials, you were embarrassing. Shame on yourself. And it's just embarrassing. Now, the officials were not the main reason why the Warriors lost this game. If you want to point a finger in terms of a specific reason why the Golden State Warriors lost by 18 points to a damn good Cleveland Cavaliers team. They're really good. There's no doubt about that. There's a reason why they're 28-4. I still don't think they're winning the championship this year. They do have holes as well, but they're going to get probably a number 1 seed, and they're going to feel damn good going to the postseason. And then the Celtics are going to beat the ever-living shit out of them. Maybe even the Knicks will beat them. But regardless, good for them. They're having a solid regular season. They're a good team. But if you're going to look at why the Warriors lost this game, I mentioned in the cold open, 23.7% shooting from deep. Now, Cleveland shot 38.3%. Yeah, almost 15 percentage point difference between the Cleveland Cavaliers shooting from the perimeter and the Warriors. Cleveland was 18 of 47 from deep. The Warriors, 9 of 38. You heard that correctly. They missed 29 three-point attempts tonight and only made 9. You're not going to win. And again, 9 3-point shots. That means Cleveland outscored the Warriors by 27 points just from three-point shooting. So if you're going to point a finger, at least from what I saw, it starts there. And then the bigger question comes, okay, Doobie Doo-Doo, by the way, in the chat saying, we know who leaked it. I think you're insinuating that Jordan Poole leaked it because he did get a huge contract after that. But I don't know. Truth is, I don't know if Jordan Poole even had access to it. But I don't think we're ever going to find that out. Who cares? But when we look at the three-point shooting for the Golden State Warriors, because they spent a lot of money this offseason to supposedly bolster that part of their offensive game. And that money was spent on Buddy Hield. That amazing start to the season for him. Talk about distant memory. Talk about the honeymoon long being over. And now you're in that part of the marriage where both sides are just getting annoyed over every little thing. Resentment's brewing. Sorry for the metaphor there. But Buddy Hield tonight. 1 of 8 from the field. 0 of 3 from deep. The entire reason Buddy Hield is on this team was to provide some semblance of a replacement for Klay Thompson and to help Stephen Curry. The dude can't make his threes anymore. I mean, I got to go look at the game log as well just to see how atrocious he's been. And in fact, I'm going to do that right now because why not? So Buddy Hield, who just a game earlier was cursed out in front of everyone, in front of Chase Center, in front of the TV audience. It went everywhere on social media. Draymond Green cursing him out, and rightfully so. In no way, shape, or form are we condoning a physical attack / violence / assault on people, a.k.a. Jordan Poole being just literally cold-cocked by Draymond Green during a practice. But in terms of the shouting, in terms of yelling at a player to wake the F up, absolutely support that. That is necessary and needed. And unfortunately, however, it didn't result in anything getting better for Buddy Hield. The game log for Buddy Hield, a player who we heard repeatedly the last 5 years hit more three-point shots than Stephen Curry. Yeah, we're not seeing that any semblance of that player now. Over the last 10 games, let's look at how Buddy Hield has been doing in terms of three-point shooting. Against Cleveland tonight again, made none of them, 0 of 3. Against Phoenix, a game they thankfully overcame Buddy Hield's shooting struggles and won 109-105. Buddy Hield was 0 of 7 from deep. Against the LA Clippers, a game they lost 102-92, Buddy Hield was 1 of 6 from deep. That's 16.7%. In the Lakers game, a game they unfortunately lost on Christmas Day, that one hurt, 1 of 5 from deep. Are you starting to see a trend here? Now, he did have, in a game that I criticized him, despite the box score reflecting otherwise, Buddy Hield, I thought, was terrible in the Pacers game, a game they lost 111-105, but he was 3 of 6 from deep in that game. But he was turning the ball over. I think he had 3 turnovers that game. Defense wasn't there. And then we continue on. Against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a game they won. He was 3 of 8. That's 37.5%. You can live with that. That was probably his best game of the month. Okay, you can live with that, 3 of 8. But then Memphis Grizzlies, a game the Warriors lost by 51 points, 1 of 3 from deep. Dallas Mavericks, they lost. December's been a nightmare as I'm going through all these games. Buddy Hield, 3 of 8 from deep. Okay, that's all right. It's passable. And then he was 3 of 9 from deep against the Rockets in a game they lost 91-90. That was the NBA Cup quarterfinal game that the Warriors lost on, again, awful officiating. I can't believe it's been that long now since that end-of-game scrum where they ridiculously called the foul on Jonathan Kuminga over a loose ball with like a second remaining. Anyways, Buddy Hield was 3 of 9 in that game. And that's through December 11th. And just to finish out the month, we might as well. The rest of December, against the Minnesota Timberwolves, they played back-to-back sets. This was one of his best games of the season, and definitely the best game of the month. Buddy Hield was 7 of 13 in that game. He scored 27 points in a win for the Golden State Warriors over the Minnesota Timberwolves at Chase Center. Previous game before that, 0 of 2. Previous game before that against the Rockets, 1 of 6. Previous game against the Nuggets, 2 of 6. In the month of December, Buddy Hield shot 31.6% from the three-point line. This was supposed to be someone that would be a difference maker offensively. And in reality, he sucks. Everything people were saying about him, from Kings fans, from Pacers fans, from Sixers fans, it's all coming true. It sucks. It's unfortunate. I don't think he should play anymore, in all honesty. I mean, look, the threat is still there. He still at least gives some spacing to his teammates, but he's a disappointment defensively. He's inconsistent offensively, and you signed him for the three-point shooting. And here's what's even worse is it's not just Buddy Hield. In tonight's game, another player that the Warriors were relying on for his three-point shooting. Now, granted, he's not getting big money. Granted, the expectations were far lower for him, but still, Lindy Waters III. He played tonight 14 minutes, 28 seconds. His stat line, 0 of 6 from the field. 5 of those 6 field goal attempts, 3-point shots that did not go in. That's Lindy's, and like the bulk of his value in terms of what's expected from him is 3-point shooting. And he scores 2 points tonight. Buddy Hield scores 2 points tonight. And again, if those two are not hitting their threes, when you look at the rest of this roster, you suddenly realize how little help Stephen Curry is getting out there. Now, Stephen Curry himself did not have a great game. He finished tonight with just 11 points in 29 minutes of play. And thankfully, he started hitting some threes late. But if you're watching this game, every one of those three-point attempts were challenged. He had bigger dudes defending him. Again, he's getting double-teamed almost every possession. Even though it doesn't always look like it, there is always a help defender ready to pounce on him the moment he's in a decent position to shoot. And he has no help. He has no help. Now, Heidi Fall in the chat, I was going to get to this in a little bit. Might as well bring it up now. Besides the fact that you have Lindy Waters and Buddy Hield not making a damn thing, you also have Kyle Anderson, another one of the team's prized, acquisitions this offseason, not playing at all. Dude's on the milk carton. Why? I don't understand the DNPs. And what's really frustrating is on a night where Brandon Pajemski and GP2 were both out because of injury, those two were going to be getting minutes tonight. GP2 and all 6'2" of him. Brandon Pajemski is a little bigger at 6'4", but right now, offensively, he's a sieve out there. In case you don't know what that word means, it's like a strainer. He's ineffectual. His shots are not falling. He's getting exposed defensively, but they would get minutes tonight. But Kyle Anderson was healthy, and he gets a big fat DNP. I don't get that either, Heidi. I don't understand that. I actually reached out to my media folks who are in Chase Center tonight, requesting them to bring this up just to get an answer. Although Steve Kerr will come up with an answer like matchups, or he'll have some sort of cliched, like super general answer that will immediately take all the accountability away from him. But I do not understand that. So I'm with you. I don't get it. The DNPs suck. Now, I came into the show with a positive mojo. I was hoping to, anyways. And then I'm blasting the team, and more specifically Buddy Hield and Lindy Waters. And there's a lot more blame to go around. But I want to talk about the positives. And the first positive I want to bring up, by the way, the link is in the chat. If anyone wants to join me and provide some opinions, provide your takes. If you disagree with me, whatever your reasoning, come on board, man. This show is open for everyone. But I want to give some acknowledgement, some accolade, props to Mr. Moses Moody, first and foremost, who has missed a lot of games this season because of I guess, knee tendonitis, which is just a soreness issue where I don't think you can do much about that except for just resting it. Simon too saying Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is on his way. Oh, I wish. But Moses Moody, he played tonight and he was fantastic. I have to start off the show in terms of the positivity by giving him love. Because he was one of the only dudes out there tonight doing anything. He played 20 minutes, 33 seconds, which probably would have been 10 minutes if Pajemski and GP2 had played. So in these 20 minutes, 33 seconds, he was 7 of 8 from the field. He was 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. 19 points in this game. He was one of the only players with a positive in net rating that doesn't include the garbage time players, including Quinn Post, who scored his first points as a member of the Golden State Warriors. I believe was on a putback. Look, better than nothing. We finally saw Quinn. I did not get a chance to really study him that much, not to mention garbage time is just a really awful period in the game to evaluate players since the opposition is not doing a damn thing except playing their scrubs themselves and not having urgency. But it was good to see that. But now, with that said, the 3 garbage time players, Guy Santos, Quentin Post, Pat Spencer, they all had a +1 in net rating. Take them out. The only player that produced positively for the Golden State Warriors tonight in terms of net rating was Moses Moody with a whopping +2. Moses Moody also incredibly led the Warriors tonight in scoring with 19 points. That's no bueno, because 19 points would not have been enough to actually lead your team to victory. I don't care who you're playing. That's not a good sign. But Moses Moody, shout out to you. I hope this is just the beginning of things to come. And I liked what we saw from him. I'm going to give some love to Trayce Jackson-Davis next because his emergence, last show that I was started hosting at 3-something in the morning, thank you for putting up with that. I don't know how I did that, to be honest, but I do remember giving love to Trayce Jackson-Davis. We're going to continue that in just a moment. I don't want to keep Derek Simmons waiting. He's in Vegas right now. Derek, welcome to the program. How are you doing, man? I'm guessing you have a lot to talk about that I haven't even touched on yet. So this is new stuff, I'm guessing. Floor is yours. Great to see you, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Cyrus. Great to see you as always. I had hope today, and the reason why I had hope today was because Brandon Bajemski wasn't going to play and GPT wasn't going to play.
Me too. Me too.
And so I knew that Steve Kerr was going to be forced to play big. Now, if we had a smart coach who can make adjustments, he can go back on the tape. And we was revealed, I believe, the best starting five-ish team in the NBA that I saw in the third quarter. It was when Steph was on the court, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Moses Moody, and Jonathan Kuminga. It was enough athleticism during that run that they used Steph's gravity to promote more offense. And I saw beautiful basketball played amongst those four players. And that's what we've been saying all along, Cyrus. We've been saying starting five should be Steph Curry, Moses Moody, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Jonathan Kuminga. I had people over at the
Who's the fifth? You keep listing four guys. You're missing someone. Who's the fifth?
Draymond Green, of course.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, all right.
Yeah, but more specifically, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Jonathan Kuminga needs to play together. And if Steve Kerr allows it and gives us a little bit more additional help, Moses Moody. Lindy Waters, a complete thud tonight. I don't know why he played tonight. There was no reason for him to play. The guy can't make a three. He was letting Ty Jerome, your favorite guy, hit those wide open threes. There was no reason for him to play. But what do you think of those guys on the court, Cyrus? What was your thoughts on that third quarter?
Well, the Lindy Waters thing, it's again, the Kyle Anderson DNP, I don't get at all. Kevon Looney got a DNP as well. Most nights I get that, right? And maybe this is a foreshadowing of him being traded eventually. Maybe they're trying to preserve him. I don't understand the DNP in a night where you're playing the Cavaliers of all teams, but the Kyle Anderson DNP makes no damn sense. Like Lindy Waters III and Buddy Hield collectively played 33 minutes and change tonight. 33 minutes that could have easily gone at least partially to Kyle Anderson, and then you could then distribute those minutes elsewhere. Look, I would not have minded seeing Pat Spencer get those minutes. I would not have minded seeing Quentin Post get those minutes. Dude, they've got a major problem. The Lindy Waters part of it's easy. Like, they're probably going to trade him because he's got an expiring deal, which this year is incredibly attractive as a trade asset. And I know most years people say that, but this year there is a validity to that statement. Like, an expiring contract has a lot of value. And I hope the Warriors take action soon, man. They can't keep putting this off. Like, I don't understand where their urgency is. Like, make that trade today. You need help because Lindy Waters played largely because Kerr has no one else to play, right? Like in terms of who's going to give you points, who's going to space the floor, Lindy Waters and Buddy are two of the only guys that can do that. But they can't make their shots anymore. So they can't make their shots. It's just
no. And Cyrus, let me tell you about Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's done. And I'm gonna tell you why
I don't disagree with you. And here's the thing: they're stuck with him because he's in year one of a 3-year deal. I don't know who's going to want him, right? Because most of these teams that the Warriors can trade with, they're only going to want expiring contracts back. So Buddy Hield is not an attractive asset. Dude, they're screwed in a small sense with him.
I'm not even talking about how he played. I'm talking about what happened last game with Draymond Green cursed him out in front of everybody.
Oh, that's nothing. That's already in the past.
That's demasculating.
It is. That's true.
Yeah, could you imagine, like, everybody seeing you, another grown man is talking down to you like that? The mental scars that creates, I don't think Buddy Hield is mentally there anymore. And I can see it tonight. He had all those wide open layups that he missed.
I'm totally with you. The only thing I'm not pushing back, I'm adding to that. of all the people on this team that could probably get emasculated on the court like that and then just not even react or get fazed by it, I would say it's Buddy Hield. Like my guess is he heard that and was like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Like, he took it, man. And if there's anybody that's just going to take it and move on, it's Buddy Hield. He's not exactly like someone who encapsulates like an alpha out there, right? Like I don't see him as being like the type A guy out there. So but bigger picture, who cares, right? Draymond called him out for being a bum, and he responded by not making a single shot tonight. So that's Buddy Hield for you. Like it's a waste. I'm sorry, he made one field goal. He did make one field goal for 2 total points. But a lot of people in the chat are bringing up Andrew Wiggins tonight, who did not have a good game, and he's been slumping. He at least reached double digits in scoring, but there were a couple plays, like I even had it in my notes, where it wasn't just the offense that he was having a bad time with, although that turnover in the first quarter, I don't know if you folks remember that. He had a backcourt pass to Dennis Schroeder that I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe the answer is he wasn't thinking, and I don't know if you remember that play, but he just literally, it was the most careless, thoughtless play. He just passes it to Dennis Schroeder, and I think Darius Garland was sitting right there, easily picks it, easily puts up a 2, and then at the start of the third quarter, where this game really got away from them, Andrew Wiggins was getting exposed defensively by Davion Mitchell. Man, Mitchell was just heaving up these threes unimpeded. Like Wiggins wasn't even trying defensively, and it got to the point where he got benched. Like Wiggins in the fourth quarter, for example, I'm gonna look at his minutes here just to see if he played at all. Andrew Wiggins played no minutes in the fourth quarter. In the third quarter, he played. Hold on, where's my third quarter stats? He played a total of 7 minutes 30 seconds, and then that was it. He had 2 points in the third quarter. He was the worst net rating player on the court tonight. It was bad, man. Derek, what are your thoughts on Andrew Wiggins, dude? Because I do think that's a concern as well. And when you're talking about the team making a trade, there's no skin. There's no like a sleep that I'm losing trading Andrew Wiggins away if you're getting back like a really good asset. What are your thoughts on Wiggins, brother?
Wiggins played good the first quarter. He was solid the first quarter, but then as the game goes on, it felt like it seemed like he knew like how we felt. Like, yeah, okay, this game is over. So he kind of just gave up. And I believe the game was over in the second quarter when Steve was sitting down Steph for so long for no reason at all. And then we were losing the momentum as he was sitting down. And I was like, Steve, what are you saving Steph for? We're in the game right now. This is like, Steve, like this is the Cleveland freaking Cavaliers. We're not playing against like, do you not know the game that we're in?
Yeah. And Portola 45 in the chat's bringing up Kevin Knox, who had a great training camp, great summer league. He's been playing solid basketball for Santa Cruz, and the Warriors do have an empty two-way spot on the roster right now because they traded Reese Beekman. So I don't understand why he hasn't been called up yet. I mean, this team needs size. This team needs something different. They need change. Someone else in the chat brought up the fact of this team. Where is that? Right here. Edward DeMesa saying this team needs dogs, man. And that's a metaphor for just tough-minded individuals who are not taking crap out there, who's bringing intensity out there, who's bringing 100% effort on every play. And that's part of the concern with Wiggins is we're seeing a little drop-off in terms of that dog, man. Like the same guy that was muscling his way in there for tough boards, second-chance opportunities, I don't see that version of Wiggins again. And this is the consistency that's been lacking. You know, like he's looked better this year clearly than the last 2 years, but these last few games, not so much, man. This last month, not so much. So this team has problems, dude. And the inactivity is what I'm most concerned about. It's like they're just sitting here doing nothing. Like the Lakers just made a deal for the player that I wanted from Brooklyn, Dorian Finney-Smith. They also get Shake Milton, who would not have been bad either, and they got him for nothing. And the Warriors instead got Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder tonight finally looked. He hit that 3 at the end of the last game, which is huge. He looked okay tonight. He played 30 minutes, was 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 4 from the 3-point line, finished the game with 12 points. But this is not the impact that Steve Kerr and the team promised by bringing Dennis Schroeder in. It looks like the same old shit. And his height is exposed routinely. Thankfully, they can trade him and use that $13 million to get something back. One of the rare positives of this new CBA is you can do that now. But this is, dude, they've got problems, brother. They got problems. I want to bring Chardal in the chat or on the show real fast because I know he's waiting. Any final thoughts, Derek? And how's Vegas life treating you, brother? It's cold there right now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's pretty cold out now. My final thought is that we don't have many problems. We have one problem, and the problem is Steve Kerr. I believe that it's Steve Kerr the reason why we didn't get those trades that you wanted.
Agreed.
Steve Kerr wants to endorse more small ball, and as long as he's the coach of this team, I don't think that there's a move that we can make that could be salvageable.
Yeah.
Enough to get us to a proper position because it's just his philosophy. His philosophy is outdated. What he believes in doesn't work, and he can't make the adjustments to move forward. So unless he gets fired, there's some miracle that happens, we're going to be stuck in the same situation.
And I'll pose this question to the chat again. We're live. It's Monday night. We're 2 days away from New Year's Day. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve, man. Happy New Year's, everybody. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time that we're recording this, and I want to solicit opinions from the chat. And my question to everyone who's watching this show live right now, and my meter is showing nearly 500 people, which could mean 1,500 because that's always off. Will Steve Kerr get fired? Does Joe Lacob have it in him to make that move? I agree with you. I just don't want to sound like a broken record. I firmly believe that, man. This team needs real change. I don't understand what is going into the thinking of playing little dudes and expecting success. Like, what is going through your mind expecting that? You know, this coach has been exposed the moment, like, his coaching has been needed instead of inheriting these stacked teams. Like, we're seeing him getting exposed. There's no doubt about that. But my question is to everyone, and you as well, Derek, do you think Joe Lacob has the balls to do it? Like, I don't know. I don't think he does. I think Joe Lacob's like for some reason feels like he owes him something. I don't know what's going on there, man, but I don't think Joe Lacob will do it. That's why I keep looking for alternative plans. You're right. That is what should happen. Do you think Joe Lacob would do it, Derek? Your thoughts, and I'll say that ask that for everyone else as well.
So who was the owner when Mark Jackson was the coach?
Joe Lacob.
It was Joe Lacob.
Yes.
If Mark Jackson built the team and got us to the point where we were championship contenders and you got rid of him, why can't you get rid of Steve Kerr for what he's doing right now? And we know that this is a championship squad based off of what we've seen at the beginning of the season. They beat quality teams, including the Boston Celtics. He's taking a title contender team and he's dragging them down with a small ball philosophy.
You're right.
And come around. You let somebody go that built the squad.
Nick
now
Fensky,
you're keeping somebody that's destroying it.
No, you're right. And Nick Fensky, who's got an awesome acting career, you should look him up on IMDb, saying 3 words, fire his ass. Deshaun Williams bringing up Mike Brown. That could be the most seamless transition imaginable. He's out there. You could just get Mike Brown in here, have a common sense head coach who knows this team. You don't have to tinker with the system. Mike Brown is all too familiar with it. You could even keep the same assistants and just replace that dude at the top. I fully endorse that, man. I think that replacing Kerr with Mike Brown would be the move. Don't forget, the Cleveland Cavaliers fired their head coach in 2016. What was it? David Blatt, was that his name? Replaced him with Ty Lue, who I believe was an assistant on the staff, and they won a championship. So you can do it. You can fire a coach midseason and still win it all. It's been proven. It's been done. I endorse that, man. I just don't know if Joe Lacob is willing to do that. The Mark Jackson thing, I just want to bring some pragmatism here, some reality, just because Mark Jackson, when he got fired, in case people aren't familiar with this, he part of being a head coach is you got to play the diplomacy game. You got to play the company game, right? The corporate game, meaning like it's not just being a head coach that's a job. You also have to talk to the media. You also have to woo like potential sponsors of the team. Like you have a lot of roles in that job. And Mark Jackson was not willing to engage in that part of it. Kind of like Jim Harbaugh all those years ago with the Niners, right? Like the Niners wanted him to like give speeches to season ticket holders and go to these events at the new stadium. And Harbaugh was like, what the hell are you asking me to do here, man? Like, I'm a head coach. Let me coach. And Jed York, who's just an absolute idiot, side note. Like, if you want an example of an awful owner, him and his mom, Denise, give the team back to your brother. That's just a shit show and a whole other story there. But the point is, they expected Jim Harbaugh to be like more than just the head coach. They wanted him to be like this corporate, surrogates, if you will. And that's what comes with this. Steve Kerr's a master when it comes to media relations. There's a huge reason why you don't have a lot of media personalities out there calling for his head is because he has not only instilled fear in everybody, but he is a damn likable dude, right? And so there's a lot of people that run into him on a daily basis and engage with him. And so it's not easy for them to say the things that I'm saying. I just don't give a shit. I run into him too. I just don't care, man. You're making $17 million a year. This is part of the turf. When your team loses, you have people like me calling you out. And it's a shame that I'm one of the only ones doing it. But regardless, my point is, Mike Brown, bring him in. I'm on board. I'm all on board, man. But go ahead, sir.
I just want to give a final shout out to myself because you said I could do it, Cyrus. So just shouting my YouTube channel out, Derek Simmons, IFBB Pro. You guys can follow me on there. If you want to get big, if you're trying to get back in shape for the new year or get in shape for the new year, I got you on there. And then Instagram is relentless_attitude.
Give me your YouTube channel again. What's the handle for your page?
This is my third YouTube channel. It's Derek Simmons, IFBB Pro.
How do you give me the spelling of it? Like literally letter by letter. DER.
DERRICK. And then Simmons, SIMMONS. And then IFBB Pro, PRO.
All right. And the reason why I asked you to do that, see, I already see, and it's not showing up, is so IFBB, like IF is in Frank?
Yes.
B is in boy?
Yes.
So two B's and the word pro?
Yes.
Well, it's not coming up, man. And I literally spelled it like you said. Hold on, youtube.com. I don't know, this is titillating content on Golden Days. I'm sure you folks are loving this. youtube.com. It's at Derek Simmons IFBB Pro.
Yes. Yeah, but it's a space between IFBB and Pro.
Oh, well, that helps. Like an underscore, you mean?
Not an underscore, but it's just a space.
Well, but like the handles can have spaces in them. So like if someone's typing it in, is it like an underscore? I just want to help you out, dude, before we go here. And I can't, it's not coming up, man. Is it a period? I just want to give you some love, dude. And the link is not coming up. I'm sorry, Derek. Shardal, you're on the show, brother. How are you doing, man? And Derek, do me a favor. Type in the URL in the private chat. It's on your screen, dude. That's a way for you to literally message me directly. Put that link in there real fast. I want to give you some love before you go. And while you're doing that, Shardal, what's on your mind, brother? How you doing?
Hi, Sai.
Hello. How are you?
I love your YouTube channel.
I love you, brother. Thank you.
And you make some great content. Relive all your videos. This was a tough loss for the Warriors. They go down 113-95 versus the Cavaliers from the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. But I'm 100% optimistic that we are going to bounce back from this loss when we go up against the Philadelphia 76ers at home in San Francisco. And this is my team. And no matter win or lose, I will support this team with all my heart.
Well, that's good. Yeah, you're a fan. I get that. But Shardal, the team is currently constructed. It ain't happening, correct?
I mean, the way this team is constructed, they have to do better. Like, some players are on the bench. Steve Kerr puts some players on the bench. He doesn't take them off of the bench. That's the thing that's the thing that really gets me upset and really gets something under my skin. Because I'm saying, like, if somebody's on the bench, take them off of the bench. Why are you putting them on the bench?
Who are you talking about specifically?
I'm saying Jonathan Kuminga's on the bench.
Here's the thing, and I hear you, man. So are you saying, Shardall, that the Warriors should start Jonathan Kuminga?
I'm saying the Warriors should start Jonathan Kuminga as much as they can. It looks like they aren't starting him as much as they can, which I don't understand. I love Jonathan Kuminga so much. He's a great player. I love him so much. And they should give him more minutes.
Yeah, Jonathan Kuminga tonight played just shy of 32 minutes, 31 minutes, 57 seconds. And clearly, like, the size of the Cavaliers caused some problems for him. Shooting-wise, he was just 4 of 15, missed both his three-point attempts tonight. But he's one of the only guys on this team who gets to the free throw line. He had 14 free throw attempts, made 10 of them. Thank the almighty basketball gods that the free throw ailment of Jonathan Kuminga is being fixed. There were some stats tonight during the broadcast showing that I think over the last 7 games, he's improved that free throw number to well over 70% now. Tonight, he was 10 of 14 from the free throw line, 18 points, and a number that a lot of people, I hope, will be happy about, because that's a huge part of his game that people were clamoring for, was the rebounding. 10 boards. He got another double-double. So over the last 3 games, 10 rebounds, 9 rebounds, 10 rebounds. 18 points was below what you'd hope for, but at least he's the only one doing anything, man. Him and Moody were the only ones. Like, Kuminga had 18 points, Moses Moody 19 points, and then the third highest scorer, interestingly enough, Trayce Jackson Davis, who had 16 points, and he had 16 rebounds. 9 of those in the first quarter, although I did hear someone say 8. Let me look at my box score real fast. Well, but so the 3 youngsters are the ones producing. Unfortunately, when you're playing the Cavaliers, you need your absolute A game to win. But that is why, right there, I'm not super discouraged. Is that why you're amped up too, Shardall? Is that why you have hope for the Golden State Warriors?
I love Kuminga, man. I love the kid, man. Like, I love how he plays, man. He has a dog in him, and he brings that on the court every single day when he comes out and plays at Chase. And you got to give this guy more credit, man, because the amount of people are not giving him a lot of credit. And to me, I want to support him as much as I can. I'll be a season ticket holder if I have to support Jonathan Kuminga.
And Patrick Singh in the chat, and I agree, writing that Steve Kerr just doesn't see it. And that's the biggest problem, man. I agree. By the way, Derek Simmons, did I get the right page?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, good. Okay, I found it. So there was no pro. The way I found it was it's just Derek Simmons IFBB. I know the name. I get what you're saying, like the title of your page includes IFBB Pro, but if you're trying to market your page, and look, you already got 571 subs, man. You're doing great. Keep going, and I'll happily promote this every time you come on. But just when you tell people, like, the handle, it's this thing right here. So there's no pro after it. So it's at Derek Simmons IFBB. That's how you find it. And then real fast, before I let you go, Derek, I want to give some love to your Instagram page as well. Dude, you are yoked, my man. Is that clean living you're doing? You're not toxifying your body, are you?
No, it's clean living. I don't drink. I don't smoke. All I do is eat steak.
No, I don't care about that. I mean, like, the juice. Like, are you on the juice? Do you like the juice?
I would say this. Me and LeBron James take the same thing.
There you go. Okay, so you're legal. Just don't kill yourself is what I'm trying to say, dude. Like, don't hurt yourself, brother. You're good people, man. But that is damn impressive.
Sai, how often do you go live in your channel? I love all your shows. I think it's slayed. You keep it professional. I really like that you're a professional host. Despite being a college professor, I think you do a great job on the stream. Despite you being a really great person and bringing a lot of great people on the panel.
Thank you, man.
You have a great sense of humor. So anytime the Warriors lose, your sense of humor really lifts me up.
Except for the nights when I just lose it, right? I mean, that doesn't
I love when you lose it.
I try to have self-awareness in this world. I know I lose it sometimes. But thank you, brother. Shardall, that's very kind of you. Derek, before I let you go, man, any final thoughts from you before I call you a night? Call the night on you?
I mean, it's like a broken record, right? But having Schroeder alongside Steph Curry is not it. Teams shoot way too many threes to be playing small ball, and We saw it on tonight. If you put Steph Curry with Moses Moody on the small guard, Jonathan Kuminga at the small forward, Draymond Green at the power forward, Trayce Jackson-Davis at the center, and you got to bring back Kyle Anderson to sub in for Draymond Green. This is going to be a much better team, and we can get to winning. Not saying that we can beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, but we can get to a respectable position.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Derek.
Sorry, make sure guys to click that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ring that notification bell so we'll be updated next time. Stop! Post another video, man. Support the guy, man. This guy's crazy, man. He is the OG in the room, baby. Let's go, baby. Let's kill it, baby.
Shardall, you're funny, dude.
You're rock, baby. Yeah, you rock, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, Warriors, baby. Let's get that gold Steph Curry. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Oh, my God.
Let's go, man. Let's kill it, man. Let's go, man. Steph Curry for three, baby. Woo! He hits his punch on the rim, baby. Let's go. Yeah.
I love your energy. Shardall.
Hey, see you later, Cyrus. I'll see you back for another post-game show, baby. See you later, bro.
I love your energy, dude. Derek, thank you, brother. Have a good night. Again, people can follow Shardall. I love it. You can follow Derek Simmons again on YouTube at Derek Simmons IFBB, and then you're also on Instagram. Your handle there is relentless_attitude. Good stuff, brother. Just don't kill yourself, please. Okay, just don't kill yourself. That's all I'm asking. All right.
I'll try not to.
Please.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Please. Okay. Derek, I'll see you soon, brother. Thank you so much. This was a rough one, but again, there's some good things to come out of this, man, and I'll touch on that. Derek, well, I'll see you soon, brother. Thank you. Have a great night, man. Thanks to everyone for jumping on with me. Look, the fact that the three leading scorers for the Warriors were three of the four centerpieces for this team in terms of the future, right? I've said this before and I'll say it again. When I see a product on the court that represents the Warriors 5 years from now still being relevant and being one of the best teams in the NBA, I do get a little giddy about that. I know this team is designed to win now, in theory, but I like that, man. I just get a joy out of seeing these young guys that I don't think the Warriors have any plans of letting go. And again, Jonathan Kuminga tonight, not a good shooting night, just 4-15 from the field. That's part of the reason why you want him at the 3 and not the 4 playing against a team like Cleveland, because Kuminga will put up a hell of a lot more points and be far more efficient if he doesn't have Evan Mobley as his primary defender. We saw how that went tonight. Mobley's already a really good defensive player, but he's also like 4 inches taller than Kuminga, man, and height matters in basketball. I hate the fact that I have to keep repeating this, but we unfortunately have a head coach in Steve Kerr who just for some reason thinks that's not important, and that it just blows my mind. It completely blows my mind that is the mentality of the head coach, and it's why I constantly disparage him, because I don't know how you can be intelligent when it comes to leading a basketball team, yet you also think that a backcourt of 6'3" Steph, 6'2.5", and 6'1" Dennis Schroeder is going to do anything. That's not going to work. The fact that DeAnthony Melton was playing as well as he was, that was a minor miracle. And Steve Kerr thought he could just replicate that. Like, it's insane. It is absolutely insane. Klay Thompson was 6'7". That is what you want alongside Stephen Curry. You want size. You want someone that's going to make life a little easier for him. Dennis Schroeder ain't it. Dennis Schroeder off the bench, yay! Sign me up, man. I'm sure he's a fine backup point guard. I'm sure he's fine running that second unit. Not as a starter. Makes no damn sense. Now, with that said, again, Kuminga, thanks to all those trips to the free throw line, also added 10 rebounds, had 2 assists. He had 1 steal. And get this, 0 turnovers for the young man. In 32 minutes of play, 0 turnovers. committed 3 personal fouls total. Considering the position he was playing tonight, that's not bad either. 18 points, 10 rebounds for Jonathan Kuminga, but he was not our player of the game. The player of the game tonight, courtesy of Vitamin Energy. And again, go to vitaminenergy.com and use the promo code Golden Days at checkout to get a 20% discount. And our player of the game tonight, I talked about him earlier, and I'll talk about him again. Moses Moody. He had himself a game, arguably the best game of the season for him, in a season that's been injury-riddled, in a season that continues the inconsistency with minutes and the lack of trust that Steve Kerr typically has in him. Tonight plays 20 minutes, 33 seconds, 7 of 8 from the field, 3 of 4 from deep. His three-point shot has been solid this season, has taken a dip in recent weeks, but thankfully his 3 of 4 shooting tonight will boost up that percentage. Moses Moody on the year as a three-point shooter now. Let me get that stat for you real fast, because at the early part of the season, he was shooting over 40%, and then he went through a little slump. And currently, Moses Moody is shooting 35.2% from deep. That does not reflect his stats tonight. So it's going to go up a little bit. Again, as long as you're shooting above 33% from the three-point line, you're fine. Ignore league averages, okay? Focus on individual possessions and what helps and hurts your team. A 33% or better three-point shooter is helping your team. That translates to 50% shooting from 2. So as long as Moody is above that, he's not hurting the team in that regard. And he had a fantastic game tonight again. And he is your Vitamin Energy player of the game. One more time, vitaminenergy.com, and use the promo code Golden Days at checkout. I want to give, first of all, ATGYY with a couple of comments in the chat. First up, saying that Andrew Wiggins has been disappointing, and then adding that he got benched in the second half. More specifically, he played 7 minutes in the third quarter, and then we never saw him again. A listless night from Andrew Wiggins, a disappointing night from Andrew Wiggins, unfortunately. And again, for the folks that insist not to trade him, why? I mean, this is working out. You really think the Warriors are doing great right now? Like, I mean, what is your reasoning for keeping him besides sentimentality? And again, that's a huge reason why you come to this show, because we do shove aside those feelings that prevent logical decisions from being made. I understand your love with Wiggins for what he did in 2022. I get that he sometimes shows up, but if you want to at least pretend you are a championship contender this year, they've got to upgrade. And if Wiggins is the player that they have to move to get a Jimmy Butler, a Zion Williams, whatever the move is, Time Lord, he's got to be a centerpiece for that. Doesn't have to be, but in all likelihood, given that he makes close to $30 million and that you have to match salaries to make trades, Kevon Looney and GP2 alone may or may not be enough. They are enough for Nikola Vucevic from the Chicago Bulls. You can literally make a trade that includes Kevon Looney, GP2, Guy Santos, Lindy Waters, and then you've got yourself a Nikola Vucevic. And then for those remaining open roster spots, give Pat Spencer a spot. Give Quentin Post, your second-round pick, a spot. Give Kevin Knox a spot if you have to. You do have personnel with 2A players in Santa Cruz lined up and ready to take over, but they got to make a move, man. Like the fact that we're still not seeing anything is absurd. That is all Steve Kerr. I'm never going to forgive him for last year. This team wanted to make a trade. I had sources in that building telling me that they had trades lined up, but then the final week before the trade deadline, the Warriors were 4-1 that week, and Steve Kerr, who peculiar Steve, he didn't want to make any trades because he's that picky. He's so ridiculously, annoyingly selective in terms of who he wants on his team that he kiboshed it. He's like, no, Wiggins is my guy. I want to keep him. And so the team backed off the trade, and then they regressed immediately after that. So they got to make a trade, man. They got to make a trade here. As the great Chris Tucker said in this clip, which I'm going to share for you right now because I think it's funny. They got to do something, man. They got to do something. Just listen to Chris Tucker.
Eat your ass up and cook. Or clean up or do something.
Do something, anything! All right. And Simon 2, again, at a bare minimum, Nikola Vucevic, because Simon 2 in the chat's asking what trades. At a bare minimum, you don't have to give up a thing, and you could get him back. Cam Johnson, he ain't going to cost you much. Again, whatever those quote-unquote reports were saying that Cam Johnson can only be acquired if you trade Jonathan Kuminga, there were no conclusive reports saying that. And again, just throw some other offers out there. The Brooklyn Nets want him off their books. All right? You have all the leverage. Go to the Raptors if you have to. There's a ton of talent there that'll give you players for nothing. The Portland Trailblazers, they have talent they'll give you for nothing. If there's ever a season where you need to make a trade, this is it. And the inactivity is driving me absolutely insane. Even a trade like this, that mentality proposes in the chat. Wiggins for Jakob Poeltl. Sign me up. You could do that trade. Here's a problem with that. Wiggins does not carry value with the tanking teams because he still has either 2 or 3 more years remaining on his contract. I think 3, maybe 2. I can't remember. But he still has at least 2 more years remaining on his contract after this year. His salary value increases with these remaining years. And so the tanking teams don't want contracts that require you to pay a veteran player for years beyond this season. So Wiggins might have some value if you're trying to get, let's say, like a Jimmy Butler. If you're trying to get, let's say, a Zion Williamson, right? Because guys that are making real money, and you have to include Wiggins to make that deal possible, and then to make it lucrative, because Andrew Wiggins does not carry a lot of trade value himself, you're going to have to probably include a first-round pick to entice whoever your trade partner is. But the point is, I actually don't think Toronto would bite for that trade. Now, Toronto would bite if you're proposing GP2, Kevon Looney, and let's say a future first-round pick for Jakob Poeltl. You might have to include something else to make the salaries work, but the point is that's what you have to do with these tanking teams, the capture the flag teams, and then a team like Miami who may or may not trade Jimmy Butler because Pat Riley says one thing publicly and then privately we hear all these reports. I'm pretty sure they're going to trade him, but you'd have to include Wiggins because Jimmy Butler makes a ton of money. Side note, does Jimmy Butler excite me? Is he better than Andrew Wiggins? Yes. It's a drastic improvement. So, anyways. And yeah, ATGYY, I agree. Nikola Vucevic is way better than Jakob Poeltl. Patrick Singh, you can't do this trade either, Vucevic for Wiggins, because the Bulls don't want Wiggins. Now, if you do Kevon Looney and GP2 and throw in a Lindy Waters, throw in a Guy Santos to make the numbers work, those are all expiring and or non-guaranteed contracts. Now you're talking. Andrew Wiggins is toxic in that regard because, again, he has a lot of money still owed to him. So the only way you're going to make that work is to include it for a deal for another player that the team may or may not have that much interest in. New Orleans comes to mind. Jimmy Butler comes to mind. But if we're talking about a trade with the team, again, that's tanking like the Bulls, Wiggins is not it, which is not the worst thing ever. I am not fully on board with just trading Wiggins for nothing. I do think he serves some value still, but to pretend that him as the second or third best player in your team is going to result in the playoffs and a deep run, get that out of your head, please. Like, that is not reality at all. But anyways, and I know, mentality adding, but it brings Wiggins closer to home. He's a local boy. But do the Raptors care about that? That's a question you have to ask. I'm sure Wiggins, if he's going to get traded anywhere, would probably prefer Toronto because you're right. He's not far. Where he's from is not far from there. But do the Raptors want him? That's the question. And I don't think they do. The Bulls certainly don't want Wiggins. Just to give you an example of where the Bulls are at, and going back to the offseason, in hindsight, why the Warriors didn't do this, it seems kind of crazy. I get it. Because Zach LaVine he's not durable. He makes a ton of money, but Wiggins and Chris Paul for him, if that report is true and that the Warriors just scoffed at that idea, that was a little regrettable. Zach LaVine would have been a legit second scorer on this team right now, regardless of the defensive deficiencies, regardless of the durability. It would have been an upgrade over Andrew Wiggins. Chris Paul was leading for nothing regardless. So there's a lot of nonsensical moves being made here. Joshua Soul asking thoughts on Moses Moody. He was our vitamin energy player of the game tonight. I gave him his praise already. If you're talking about him being traded, that's a whole other discussion. Real fast, going back to this game, I have to give love to Trayce Jackson-Davis just because he has been on a tear. And I don't know if the improvement in his game has been just playing time. I don't know if he's gaining experience and you're seeing a progression as a result. Whatever the reasoning is, he's playing some damn good basketball. He had 8 rebounds tonight in the first quarter, which really sticks out when you consider who the opposition is. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the team with the best record in the NBA, a team that has a lethal front court and already with Jared Allen and with Evan Mobley. They also started Dean Wade tonight. That dude would be a center on the Golden State Warriors. And he was the Cleveland Cavaliers' small forward. So despite the fact that the Cleveland Cavaliers had this ridiculously huge front court tonight as their starting 5, and Trayce Jackson-Davis comes in and grabs 8 boards, fighting those dudes off. Unbelievable. He finished the game with 16 rebounds tonight. With 6 of 14 from the field. I'm noticing an improvement in his offensive game overall. 16 points, 16 rebounds on the night for Trayce Jackson-Davis. Added 2 blocks. I just want to give him some due because regardless of what happens, if let's say hypothetically the Warriors trade for Nikola Vucevic, right? They trade for Cam Johnson. That's likely going to send Trayce Jackson-Davis to the bench, but it doesn't mean that him coming off the bench will be a detriment. It just means that now your bench has gotten that much better. So I'm excited about that, man. There's some positivity there, right? It was not all doom and gloom tonight. And the fact that the Warriors lost by 18, any other opponent, I would call that an obvious blowout. They got their asses kicked. Not tonight. 18 points to the Cavaliers. You kept this kind of close, relatively speaking. Stephen Curry, again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. He has no help offensively out there. He's getting killed as a result of that. He only finished tonight's game with 11 points in 29 minutes and 5 seconds. Had a very slow start to this game, though. If you look at Stephen Curry's first half points, to provide some comparisons there and some perspective, if you will. Steph in the first half was just 1 of 6 from the field, was 0 of 4 from deep. He only had 2 points in the first half. Despite that, and Draymond Green did not have a good game either, but despite that, the Warriors were only down 8 at the half. And just to show you the impact that Stephen Curry has, even on a night where he's only scoring 2 first half points, him and Dre were both a +6 in net rating in the first half. The only players on the roster who were in the positive because they're still incredible basketball players. They still have that much of a positive impact, regardless of who they're playing with, who they're playing against. It is such an egregious disservice of the Golden State Warriors to not make a trade to help Stephen Curry when he needs it the most, which is right now. They got to do something, and they got to do something fast. This we're going to take our sweet-ass time thing. This is bullshit, dude. Move your ass and do something. Take some action here instead of giving us these lame speeches we'll see how it goes. We want to evaluate. Shut the F up with that rhetoric, dude. Do something now before the season is wasted. Please, I'm begging you. Draymond Green, by the way, real fast. On the night. Not a good night for him. A standard triple single. As standard as it gets for Draymond Green. He played 25 minutes, 4 seconds in this game. He was 1 of 10 from the field. Literally shot 10% from the field tonight while putting up 10 field goal attempts. He had 2 3-point attempts. Didn't help there either. He was 0 of 2. Did grab 8 rebounds and 5 assists. Did also have 3 turnovers in this game. 2 points total in this game. Did also have 2 blocks, but not a good night for Draymond Green. And I think that's everyone of relevance. I think I've covered it all in terms of player performances. Why don't we check and see if there's any sound? I'll do that right now. Let's see if... oh, there are some comments. We got some sound here. Let's start with Steve Kerr. And again, turn the volume up, folks, because this is courtesy of 95.7 The Game, the flagship radio station of the Golden State Warriors. And again, you'd think the flagship station of the Warriors would have their mics plugged in. Regardless, still grateful that they're at least posting these clips. Here is Steve Kerr saying that the Warriors, who after tonight's loss have dropped back to 500 with a 16-16 record, saying that their record tells you just who they are. Here's Steve.
You guys have had obviously some really high highs and some tough lows. At 16-16, how do you think that reflects on the team overall? I mean, are you guys a 16-16 team, or do you think highly of that team?
You are what your record says you are. I think Bill Parcells. I think there's a lot of truth to that, we've obviously fallen, from that early start where we had a lot of momentum and a lot of good flow to our game, and so I know, because I've seen it, the way we started. I know it's in us, and I know we can get there. But right now, it's a struggle for sure.
You guys have had some.
All right, so yeah, he said nothing. Let's hear from Stephen Curry, who usually is more forthright and gives you answers that have at least a hint of honesty and genuineness behind it, instead of just cliched answers that mask the truth. Stephen Curry. And again, did not have a good night tonight. I know some people are saying that he's regressing, and it's hard to disagree with that, but I'm also going to come back and tell you again, he has no help. The dude is doubled, sometimes triple teamed every possession. Every possession, defenses have 2 of their 5 defenders focused on him. It's almost impossible to be the version of Steph that we're accustomed to when he has no one else around him doing anything. And this is where starting Kuminga might help a little bit. To me, whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench, as long as he's getting his minutes and as long as he's in he's playing in the pivotal moments of the game, which includes your closing lineup, I'm okay with it. To me, it's not a huge deal, but it does matter in terms of helping Steph. And it's sad. It's sad watching the Warriors doing nothing here. It's sad watching a head coach in Steve Kerr, who I do believe his intentions above all else, like his agenda, is to help Steph and support Steph, but I don't think he knows how to. And the small ball crap is not helping him. All it does is expose him to physicality. It's a joke. Anyway, so here's, I could just go on rants forever and ever. Here is Stephen Curry, again, talking about tonight's loss, talking about how he's feeling. Again, I haven't heard any of these because I come live. We start the show live immediately after the games. So here's Steph. Let's hear what he has to say. We're all listening to this for the first time together.
Team going into the new year, what does that reflect about who you guys are right now, but what you guys can be going forward?
I mean, kids say we're very mid right now, which is very average. I think we understand that better days can be ahead. You're not in that big of a hole in the Western Conference. If you look at the standings, you go on a 5-6 game run. To us, that sounds like a lot, but it is like the numbers. You can make up a lot of ground pretty quickly. It's a tough task, but that fine line between losing hope and confidence and understanding, one good week you're coming back in it. That's where we are.
And that is true. He does make a very solid point in the sense that the team is 16-16 right now, and all it's going to take is a few wins, and this is all forgotten. It's all forgotten. Another piece of great news. Are you surprised, by the way, that I'm actually coming here with positivity? Another piece of really good news for the Golden State Warriors is their schedule. The worst is officially over. That's fantastic news. To give you some perspective on this in terms of what's ahead, right? And look, there's no way you can be, if you have any semblance of common sense, intellect, there's no way you can sit here and pretend that the Warriors, since November 23rd, I'm looking at their record right now. Since the 23rd of November, when they were 12-3. They were 12-3 on November 23rd. And then since then, they've lost, 13 of their last 17? Am I doing the math right? 13 of their last 16. With losses, I mean, this stretch included San Antonio. Unfortunately, they lost to Brooklyn during that stretch. Inexcusable. They played Minnesota 3 times. They played Memphis. They played the Lakers. They played the Clippers. They played the Cavaliers, who we all just saw. They played the Mavericks. Houston twice. Phoenix twice. OKC once. Yeah, once. That's over. Here's the Warriors in the month of January to give you some perspective that of the schedule easing up and that maybe they can start flipping this around. On January 2nd, the first game of 2025, I can't believe the year is already over. That's insane. Life travels fast, folks. If you're on the younger side of the age spectrum, I know that came off weird. Do what you can to have fun. It goes by before you know it. It is insane. Everything you hear from the older folks is true. It flies. Anyways, happy New Year, everyone, if we don't have another show before 2025. But here's the schedule. All right. Home against Philadelphia. I don't think Joel Embiid is going to play in that game. They better win that game. Memphis at home. That's going to be a tough one, but I think it's winnable. They beat them once already this season. At home against Sacramento, at home against Miami. Then they go on the road at Detroit, at the Pacers, at the Raptors, at Minnesota. Then they're at home against the Wizards. Guarantee that one. They host the Celtics. That should be an interesting one. Then they're on the road in Sacramento, where they're not even flying. They just get on a bus. Then they're at home against the Bulls. Then they host the Lakers again. That's going to be an interesting one. Then they host the Jazz. Then they play OKC at home. That should be an interesting one. They host the Suns. And that wraps up January. So that's the month of January for you. They should recover at least somewhat. Doesn't mean you don't make trades. It doesn't mean you don't try to improve this team. But it's going to get easier. Hopefully they make a move, and then things turn around. That's the optimistic way of looking at things. Talk to him nice, saying Detroit and Miami are good. I mean, look, everybody's good to a certain extent, but compared to what we've seen, it's a little easier for the Warriors. They're winnable games. I do agree that the Pistons are on the upswing, and they did beat the Lakers the other day, but the Warriors should win that. Damian LaRoche in the chat, a Golden Dazer, asking when is the trade deadline? February 6th. I am not advocating waiting until then to make a deal. Make that damn trade now, please. Please. All right, let's go to the scoreboard to wrap it up. On this Monday night, middle of the holidays. Yeah, and as I'm scrolling through my feed, Stephen Curry's comments that we just heard saying that the team is, as the kids like to say, very mid, getting a lot of traction. And then a lot of people questioning why Kyle Anderson did not play. And then you have, of course, ignoramuses. Like, look at this, dude. Like, this is why I don't like Twitter that much. I'm just going to show this one post to you, and I'm sorry to spotlight this specific individual, but this is why people should never take social media seriously, because you have so much buffoonery on there. And what I mean by that is, are posts like these, right? On this toxic platform. The account calls themselves the Warriors Invitational. I have no clue who they are. Saying, I'm not even mad at JK, man. He's trying. He just doesn't have any basketball skills. Dude, I mean, are you out of your mind? Like, are you, like, Jesus Christ, dude? Like, are you trying to make it, or is trolling just your game? I don't even know what your intent is there. Just some dumb shit all over the place. All right. It is Craig Ross saying that's funny to be fair. If they were trying to be funny, I would agree with you. They weren't trying. They were being legitimate writing that. It's insane, and that's all over the place. And a lot of that is because you have news organizations like 95.7 The Game, like NBC Sports Bay Area, who are all shills for Steve Kerr, who are all deathly afraid of actually espousing truth because God forbid you upset Steve Kerr with honesty. But that's just, and so they influence a lot of these other people. And so you have a lot of folks out there who hate on Jonathan Kuminga unnecessarily. It's ridiculous. Damien LaRoche, I love you, man. All right, let's go to the scoreboard. Someone asked for the music while we go through the rest of the NBA. Let's go into the club. We're officially in the club. Around the association on this Monday night in the middle of the holidays. Again, happy early New Year. The Sacramento Kings, I believe this was the first game of the post-Mike Brown era. Side note, Mike Brown's available. Stephen Curry will be okay if the team moves on from Steve Kerr. I promise. Stephen Curry's a big boy. It might bother him for a day, and that's like worst case scenario. And then he'll get over it, and the team will actually start winning games. Mike G in the chat saying Moody is a more skillful player than Kuminga. Facts. How so? Because Kuminga's a better ball handler. I would say Kuminga's a better shot blocker. I'd say Kuminga's a better rebounder. So, what facts are you spewing here exactly? Eddie757 bringing up my old Locked On Warriors co-host Dieter Kurtenbach. Again, he's just a person, okay? All he's doing is espousing opinions, and just don't take it seriously, all right? Now, if you're asking why does he have a platform, that's a whole other story, because KNBR is run by a bunch of idiots. I mean, that's yeah, and Gilbert Obalo saying Bonte Hill, another shill for the Warriors, is cringe. And again, these are people whose entire lives are based on the Golden State Warriors paying them a salary. And they are deathly afraid of Steve Kerr, combined with the fact that most of these people got their jobs simply by kissing the right ass. And so this is welcome to the media paradigm for you, you know? And it's why new media is awesome, because you no longer have these gatekeepers controlling who is the face of these operations, right? It's a beautiful thing. And Edward de Mesa, who writes, I don't understand the Kuminga hate. It's not complicated, despite the fact that I understand why you're curious, but once you know the reason why, it hopefully will make sense. You have a lot of people out there who worship Steve Kerr, who think he's infallible, who think because he was in the position that he had the title of head coach for the 4 championships, that he was actually doing something significant for the team to win those 4 titles. I will forever give him credit for the first one, all right? I don't know how much he did besides instilling a system, which is awesome. I will always give him credit for the system. It is a great system. His ATOs are phenomenal. And he did take a team in 2014 that was a playoff team. Like, the foundation was built, but he was there as the leader of this team in terms of being a head coach and helped him carry him over the top. So I give him credit for that. The KD teams, anybody could have won with those teams. He was also the head coach for a 73-win team that failed to win a title. Don't forget that. Everyone loves to absolve Kerr for that second year when they should have won the championship. And 2022, I'll say before and I'll say it again, look at the players on that team. Otto Porter Jr. at 6'8" was fundamentally important. Gary Payton II, who's a Steve Kerr crutch now, was not a crutch in 2022. I was on my program then yelling for Kerr to play GP2, especially in game 1 of the NBA Finals, when his own dad was coming out saying he's ready to play. And Kerr was like, nah, I'm good on that. Yeah, you lost game 1 of the Finals because of that decision. Thankfully, he came around in game 2 and the rest is history. My point is, that team, Bielitsa, Steve Kerr didn't coach that. Steve Kerr didn't develop him. I remember a lot of people that I was fighting back against in 2022 defending Steve Kerr because people back then were upset that Damian Lee was getting minutes, that Juan Toscano Anderson was getting minutes. And side note, that was indefensible, but they were good enough with the rest of the talent to overcome those decisions and win. They're not good enough now. And this is where coaching would be nice. And it's why I criticize this man on the reg, because we're not seeing it. We're not seeing a damn thing. We don't see development. We don't see adjustments. We don't see the proper personnel decisions. And so the point is, the reason why Edward Kuminga gets all this hate is because you have this fan base, a lot of people that worship Steve Kerr, despite not paying attention to any of the nuance of the facts. Maybe a lot of them just don't have time, right? So all they're doing is listening to 95.7 The Game. They listen to KNBR. They listen to, podcast hosts out there, all of whom are kissing Kerr's ass. And so they're influenced into believing that Kerr is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Even though in reality, thankfully, you may or may not be aware, he's actually not that great of a coach. He's got his strengths, but he has a hell of a lot of weaknesses as well. And so when Steve Kerr says, I don't want to play Kuminga, you immediately have, I'd say ballpark half the fan base just buying that shit up and eating it and believing it. So when Steve Kerr says, Jonathan Kuminga, prize lottery pick, I'm just going to play you 23 minutes a game this season. Why? Because my gut tells me so. All the fans will immediately think, the ones that, the Kerr apologists, the ones that worship him, they're immediately going to think, oh, if Steve Kerr feels this way, there's got to be something wrong with Jonathan Kuminga. None of them are independently coming to these decisions through independent thought. They're coming to these decisions because Steve Kerr made the decision. And then you have a lot of media douchebags out there who are Steve Kerr fans who can't think independently themselves, so they just roll with whatever Steve Kerr does and pretend that's always the right decision. And on top of that, Kuminga actually had the audacity, I'm being facetious saying that, of coming out publicly last February and saying, I want to be traded because this ain't cool, right? Like, I should be playing and I'm not playing. This is a joke. And then so you have a lot of fans also who actually resent him for that because, oh no, the blasphemy of calling out Steve Kerr, who, side note, is just a human being and a tremendously flawed human being at that. So if you want to know why there's hatred for Kuminga, it's because his head coach, who sadly has a shitload of influence, through his actions, has diminished Jonathan Kuminga. And so you have a lot of people who think as a result of that, this guy can't be good because my coach doesn't think he's good. Think for yourselves. Think independently. Do your damn research. Deduce things logically on your own instead of letting other people force opinions on you and then you just roll those opinions like they're your own thought. That's not how this should work. In journalism, you're taught from the very beginning that the goal of a proper journalist, and this applies to sports as well, is to not report opinions. It's not espouse editorialized content. It's to report facts, to try to present a well-rounded picture that's unbiased, that provides as many perspectives as possible, and then you hope that the audience, the reader, the viewer, whatever, forms opinions based on those facts. But we don't get that in most cases. We get people sharing opinions, oftentimes not reinforced with, objectivity, and other people then just lap up these opinions, and then here's welcome to our society. And Edward, I hope I answered that in a way that was not boring. I know I've been talking for a long time. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, Damien LaRouche, just a lot of lazy sheep out there. All right, going back to the scoreboard as we wrap this up. Sacramento Kings. I didn't even start the scoreboard because I saw the Sacramento Kings and immediately thought of Mike Brown and how perfect he would be taking over Steve Kerr's job. Stephen Curry will be okay. Draymond Green will be happy. Bring Mike Brown back, please. Okay, he's the one coach out there that can manage Draymond Green, which is a huge reason why Steve Kerr still has his job and has the job security, because there aren't a lot of head coaches out there who can manage Draymond Green. Mike Brown can. Sign me up. Anyways, the Sacramento Kings, first game without Mike Brown, 110-100 winners over the Dallas Mavericks tonight in Sacramento. I believe Doug Christie was is the interim head coach for the Mavericks. De'Aaron Fox, who a lot of people are pointing the finger at for being responsible for Mike Brown being fired, led the way with 33 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Spencer Dinwiddie with Luka Doncic out indefinitely because of that calf injury. Spencer Dinwiddie was the top performer tonight for the Mavericks in a losing effort, 30 points, 6 assists. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Golden State Warriors' next opponent, they were in Portland tonight and they won. And Joel Embiid played, which now makes me wonder if he's going to play in the next game. After I said earlier I didn't think he was going to play, but now I'm second guessing that. Jesus, the Sixers are healthy and they're winning. So now, of course, the Warriors have to play the Sixers when they have their whole team and they don't get the version of the first 2 months that was just utter crap. God damn it, that's annoying. Joel Embiid also had a really a big game tonight, 37 points, 9 rebounds, hit 12 of 13 free throws. God damn, Joel Embiid is he would be awesome on the Warriors. Anyways, the Sixers beat the Trailblazers tonight, 125-103. Joel Embiid, again, as I mentioned, 37 points, 9 rebounds. Anthony Simons, 25 points in the loss for Portland. Philly improves to 13-17. Portland drops to 11-21. The records for the previous teams, Dallas drops to 20-13. The Sacramento Kings with the win improved to 14-19. The Denver Nuggets tonight taking care of business in Utah. 132-101 winners. The Nuggets improved to 18-13. The Jazz, who are clearly playing capture the flag, dropped to 7-24. Nikola Jokic, check out the stat line. Jesus Christ. 36 points, 22 rebounds, 11 assists. In the win, Walker Kessler, a player that a lot of people bring up as a possible great piece for the Warriors, and I agree, but don't forget Danny Ainge is not the type of guy you want to negotiate with. Anyways, Walker Kessler, 12 points, 13 rebounds in the loss. The LA Clippers, 116-113 winners tonight over the New Orleans Pelicans. Zubac, 20 points, 16 rebounds in the win. The Pelicans, who I believe they dropped to 5-28. Jesus. CJ McCollum, 33 points in the loss. Woo! There were people out there literally picking the Pelicans to go deep in the postseason this year. And they're now 5-28. And 2 more games on the association tonight. The Clippers improved to 19-13. Again, the Pelicans dropped to 5-28. 2 more games. The New York Knicks improved to 23-10 with a 126-106 win over the Wizards. The Wizards dropped to 5-25. Jeez. Them and the Pelicans are just the bottom, the cellar dwellers this year. New York improves to 23-10. Karl Anthony Towns, 32 points, 13 rebounds in the win. Jonas Valanciunas, another player whose name is brought up in terms of a possible Warriors trade, 22 points, 9 rebounds in the loss. Karl Anthony Towns, side note, if you're a Golden Dazer or whatever we used to call the previous iteration of this show, Karl Anthony Towns was a player I kept saying one offseason ago would have been the best target for the Golden State Warriors, but, they didn't listen. And last but not least, maybe least, the Chicago Bulls, 115-108 winners tonight over the Charlotte Hornets. The Bulls improving to 15-18. Charlotte dropping to 7-25. I want to look up Nikola Vucevic, future Golden State Warrior, I hope. Played 35 minutes in this game. He would be perfect for this team. And the price is virtually nothing. God damn it. Play again. Dude is legitimately Mr. Glass. And that's your scoreboard. The Golden State Warriors, with tonight's loss, which clearly did not help them in the standings. The Warriors are 10th in the Western Conference, a half game ahead of the Phoenix Suns, 2.5 games ahead of the Sacramento Kings. They're tied with the San Antonio Spurs, but the Spurs, I believe, own the head-to-head record. So Golden State is 10th in the West, 16-16, tied with the Spurs record-wise, who are 9th. Both teams a game and a half behind the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they're 2.5 games behind the LA Lakers. Those are your 7 and 8 seeds. 1 through 6, the OKC Thunder, who are well on their way this early in the season to clinching the top seed in the West, followed by the Memphis Grizzlies, the Houston Rockets, the Dallas Mavericks, the LA Clippers, and the Denver Nuggets. Those are your standings. So the Warriors would still make the play-in today if the season ended. And that's it. I want to see if there's anything else in the chat. Lorene State saying Steve Kerr is hurting our team by playing 3 short guards in a league that is tall. Correct. Wonder, great to see you. I'm still waiting for your debut appearance. This individual, ladies and gentlemen, who her screen name is XO Wonder, might be a talent. She just has to actually come on the show. I'm waiting for you. The music is just it's our strip club music. We play it sometimes during the scoreboard at the end of the show. Craig Ross. Oh, we don't want to fight in the audience. Let's take it easy there, all right? Orlando is saying, and you're correct. This is no. Let me correct you. Let me actually add a correction. I'm sorry. But Orlando in the chat saying the Warriors can get Zion Williamson without giving up Wiggins and Kuminga. You would have to give up Wiggins because of the salaries. Zion Williamson makes a lot of money. It's nearly impossible to do it without Wiggins. But you don't have to give up Kuminga. And a Wiggins for Zion trade, sign me up. I mean, here's the thing with Wiggins, all right? And I don't mean to sound like I don't hate him. I have no personal feelings against him. I'm forever appreciative of what he did in 2022. If you've been listening or watching me going even before Locked On Warriors, when I was just doing the Rick Barry show, and those records are out there as well. In fact, the Golden Days podcast stream took over from the Rick Barry show. So if you go way back on the Golden Days podcast stream, you can actually find these episodes when I was arguing, clamoring, advocating for the Golden State Warriors. This was in 2020 to trade for Andrew Wiggins. This was before Wiggins was even a name out there for the Warriors to get. This was just me throwing it out there because I do my research, folks. I hope you come here for a reason. I actually bust my ass trying to produce a quality product here. In 2020, I was advocating for Wiggins, and Bob Myers pulled off that gem of a trade where D'Angelo Russell was shipped to the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team where Karl Anthony Towns wanted help. The Warriors had the leverage, and they got back Andrew Wiggins and a first-round pick, which became Jonathan Kuminga. But Wiggins today, he ain't it. He ain't it. If this team traded Wiggins now and got Zion Williamson, I ain't guaranteeing jack because I don't know what Zion's going to do, but Wiggins is so expendable for the simple reason you have not one but 2 players on this team that play his position almost identically in Kuminga and Moody. 2 players that also need the reps, that need the development, and are contributing just as much as Wiggins does. Except now, you'd have Zion Williamson. Is it Williams or Williamson? I'm actually forgetting. No guarantees that'll work out. But it'll give the team hope. It'll give the team a player that, in best case scenario, sets you up for the next 10 years. Could you imagine a Warriors lineup? Let's say Zion works out. Could you imagine a future lineup where Podziemski is your traditional point guard, not the crap that Kerr's trying to force him to do, where he's playing the 2 out of position, where Podziemski's playing the point, where Moody's your 2, where Jonathan Kuminga is your 3, where Zion Williamson or Williams, I already forgot, is your 4, and then Trayce Jackson-Davis is your 5. You have a starting 5 for the next 10 to 15 years locked down, and that team's competing for you. And I'm not even asking for Steve Kerr to get fired, because if you give him the right players, he does okay. It's just unfortunately he's wielded all this power where he's influencing personnel decisions, and this started around 2020, and it's all started to go downhill since because of that. But take a swing. Take a swing at Zion. Why not? All right, we're out. We're back at this at the absolute latest. We're going to be back way before then. I just don't have any shows confirmed at the moment, but we're going to be back soon. Because the next Warriors game, if my math is correct, is going to be Thursday night. Again, they're hosting a player that I did not think was playing. Apparently is Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and the Philadelphia 76ers, a team that routinely gives the Warriors problems. Can you guess why? Because Joel Embiid is one of the rare bigs that is not fazed by Draymond Green. So hopefully we'll see Trayce Jackson-Davis get some heavy minutes. Hopefully the Warriors will not fall below 500, but we'll have at least one show before that. I kind of want to get one more show in before 2024 wraps up, so we'll see what happens. Simon 2, Shane West, first of all, you're absolutely right that Steve Kerr is the problem, and Joe Lacob just for whatever reason is not taking action on that. Simon 2 in the chat saying, get Brandon Ingram. On paper, you're absolutely right. I support your logic and your thinking. The problem with Brandon Ingram is he played for that FIBA Cup team in 2023 that Steve Kerr coached, and by the end of that tournament, a tournament where Team USA finished, sixth in the world, because Steve Kerr thought Austin Reeves was the best player on that team. Oh boy. Brandon Ingram fell out of favor with Steve Kerr. So the odds of Brandon Ingram coming to the Warriors slim because of that. Cheerful Butterfly 17 saying, trade Dennis Schroeder for Jordan Poole. You'd have to include someone else to make the salaries work, but why not at this point? Except for the fact that Jordan Poole and Draymond Green, I think, hate each other. But anyways. Ooh, Craig Ross bringing up Kyle Kuzma. And again, that's one where I would trade Wiggins for Kyle Kuzma. Legitimately. Like, no hesitation. Yeah, the Warriors are a much better team if that's the deal that you pulled the trigger on. Plus, now you have Wiggins and Jordan Poole back together. Those two buddies. Remember that commercial they used to have? It was like for some app or a video game. I forgot what it was, but it was such an awful commercial. Those two are buddies. Reunite them in Washington. Bring Kyle Kuzma here. It would have to be like Wiggins, GP2, and probably Looney, because Kyle Kuzma does make a ton of money. Gilbert Arbalo is asking, what happened to Loon Dog? He's just out of the rotation. Part of me is wondering if this is a precursor to a trade and that they don't want him to get injured at this point. Edward DeMesa saying, Cam Johnson's available for first. Sign me up for that too. Just do something! Anything! I'm going to end the show on that note, because Friday is one of the greatest comedies ever made. And I think Chris Tucker said it best. Here's Chris Tucker telling Mike Dunleavy Jr. to get off his ass.
It's up and cook. Or clean up or do something. Eat your ass up and cook. Or clean up or do something. Eat your ass up and cook. Or clean up or do something.
All right. Thank you, everyone, again. And Warriors lose, but there were some bright spots at least. They're now at 500 again. We'll be back at this soon. All right, the club is dead. It's closed. Last call. Lights are on. We're out. Happy early New Year. I'll try to do a show tomorrow. We got to get one more in here before the New Year is officially done. But thank you, everyone, again. And we'll be back at this soon. Let's hope before the next show, the Warriors have some new players. Let's hope for a trade because it's desperation time, folks. They got to do something. Until then, have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.